Yo, what is good, YouTube? We are back again with at Unapologetically Men. I'm your co-host, Maximilian, aka Max, and I got my other co-host on the line, Mr. Lando.
Lando is back in the building once again.
Awesome, awesome. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
Great, great. So we wanted to touch base with you guys to discuss the current trend in kind of our entertainment, Hollywood, video games, whatever it may be, sort of this interjection of SJW, uh, just shoving it down our throats, basically, on this whole female empowerment movement, basically by taking what has already been created and just swapping genders with it. And so we got, we wanted to touch base with you on stuff. I don't know if you've noticed it, but we've kind of noticed it, and so that's what brought us today. That's what brought this podcast on today. So Lando, what have you been seeing out there right now?
Man, I have been seeing like how the there's an agenda going on, and I think we all understand what agenda that is. To where everything that was originally in created and incepted by like male superstars and
Mhm.
the most creative men in the entertainment industry is now being hijacked and just turned over into something else
Yeah,
just for the sake of doing it. You know what I
right,
mean? Not and not for the sake of doing it to produce something quality. It's just to say, hey, we can do it too. You know what I mean?
right.
And I think it's real disingenuous, and it really destroys the legacy of what had already been put together.
What has already been created, right? And
Right.
and currently, we've had, for example, the remake of Ghostbusters.
Yep.
I believe that movie tanked as far as like the all female cast that was created from that movie. And
It did not do well.
no,
A lot of the critics pandered to it out of, I think, fear. You know,
probably.
um, there was Ghostbusters. Then there was Ocean's 8, which recently came out, which didn't do well.
Mm-mm.
And mind you, no one when it comes to right thinking people, no one
Mhm.
cares whether it's like male or female. What people
Right,
care about is it good? You know what I
right,
mean? And that's what people are not being honest about.
right. And it just doesn't seem very genuine. When you creating something, when you got the creative juices flowing,
Hmm.
it doesn't seem like when they recreated and put the female leads in these roles. It's just like we're doing it just because they're female. And like,
Right.
no, there's nothing else behind it at all. It's like
Yeah. It's just a
it's
reboot where they just put a female lead and they're doing it just because it's female. They're not doing it because there's something new to tell, like a new original story with new content
right,
and a new compelling angle. Like for instance, like when you look at comics, you got like the original storylines of the characters and where they came from, and then they have these multiverse versions to where it's a whole different tangent telling a
right.
whole different story, not even with the same character, but a version of the character.
Hmm.
See, that's acceptable. But when you take something and say, hey, let's just redo it completely and then copy it, and then on top of it, make it worse, that's a problem. Because, like,
Right.
first there was Ghostbusters, then there was Ocean 8. Now they talking about doing Terminator. What's next? Predator?
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And the thing is that you already have a struggle to make a sequel to an already good movie. Uh,
Exactly.
if you create the sequel, it can always almost guarantee that it's gonna not do just as good as the original.
Right.
So when you already have that dynamic in it, and then you're what, three or four movies down in the franchise, and all of a sudden now you just want to throw a female in the lead, like it's evident that it's almost
You
inevitable.
forget,
not
I
just
mean,
going to do that great.
I mean, here's the reason why Terminator is a slippery slope. Like, it's rare, like you said, where a sequel does just as well, if not better. Terminator is one of those few
Hmm.
movies to where Terminator 2
Hmm.
totally topped Terminator 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, and then you got the sequel to Terminator 2. It's like, okay.
Hmm.
And then there was another Terminator movie after that. It's like, okay, why are they doing this? They running out of
Right.
ideas? Like, what's the point? And now they're doing Terminator again, but this time they had to be overtly sexist with it.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you've seen like the image, but it's basically saying, isn't it great that there are no men in this picture? Something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that as headlines.
Yeah, so it's like if you flip that around, say if like men were to take a movie that was predominantly like a female cat concept, right?
Hmm.
And then they turn it around, make it masculine, and then put on the headline, isn't it great that there are no women anywhere in this image?
No, they'll be hell to pay.
Oh man, the backlash,
Straight hell to pay. Like
man.
for one, I don't even see men wanting to even do that.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean that just
don't we just don't need to inject, and we just don't need to insert ourselves into that kind of
well, because men are competitive in a
space.
different way, but that was just to illustrate a point.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
say if
right,
we were to do something that was just like awesome and it just made men like, oh my gosh, we gotta one up them. You know what I mean? If men
right.
were even on that thought process,
No,
the first thing men would do is one up them by creating something new from a different angle that is the answer to it. You know what I mean?
right.
I mean, a case in point when it comes to like male invention, when you look at the auto industry, like when when Dodge came out with the Dodge Demon, right?
Right,
Now it's up to General Motors and Ford to create their version to answer to that. They're
right,
not going to be like, okay, here's the new Mustang, and then it looks exactly like the Dodge Demon, just in a color that Dodge doesn't paint their cars. You know what I mean?
right, right, right.
That would be stupid. And then people are like, why would I buy that? It's just the
Exactly.
exact same thing, only worse.
Exactly. And that's kind of how what they're doing when it comes to the entertainment industry, with creating these roles for or remaking these classic movies, or classic video game franchises,
Mhm.
only inserting the difference in gender. Like it's just, like I said, it's just not genuine. It's not authentic. Uh,
No, it's about as creative as like having like a fighting game,
yeah.
and instead of having new characters, they just have like different color palettes of each of the characters with a different name. You
Right.
know what I mean?
And then
Think about that.
and then you have the media trying to spin it, you know, and turn it into something it's not. They're just trying to say, well, the men are being biased or whatever. It's like, no, we prefer originality. If you're gonna, if
Mhm.
you have, like you said, like I think you mentioned Tomb Raider, like that's an original female character.
Oh yeah, the original Inception of Tomb Raider was groundbreaking because it was a female character that wasn't like hidden, so to speak. Because
Yeah,
the actual first female lead in a video game was Metroid.
right.
And it's like to even know that fact, you would have to be like a real big fanboy when
Yeah,
it comes to
and
video games because it was a Japanese Inception. You know what I mean?
yeah, and
So,
Metro is a pretty damn awesome game.
oh man, it was one of the great pioneers of
Hell
2D
yeah.
action shooters. You know,
Absolutely. I love some Metroid,
I
dude.
mean, before Contra, there was Metroid.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right.
I mean that just goes to show us like when it comes to exciting action and compelling stories,
Hmm.
men don't care who the lead is. We just care about if it's good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
That's
And
usually what
don't
it
take,
comes down to. I mean, there's a
yeah.
lot of great female leads in video games. You got Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark.
Hmm.
You got Claire Redfield. Jill Valentine, the Resident Evil characters.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
Yep. And and we didn't mind playing female characters in Resident Evil. Like it just there's no to take what we already have, in the image that we've already had and already been with um, for all this time, and just to switch out the
hmm
gender of that person, it just plays right into the whole agenda. Like you said, they're trying to push this agenda, and they just keep getting spoon fed to us, and that's why we're rejecting it. And that,
right.
and that's that should honestly, there should be no reason. Like I say, if, like hypothetically, they come out with Terminator, right? And you would think that with women being the majority of consumers in this
hmm
you would think that that movie is going to be excellent, like because all the women are going to rush out to go see it, but something tells me it's just not going to go down like that.
Well, this is what I
My
think
words,
about.
yeah,
Like women don't usually gravitate towards bloody, violent action movies.
right, and that's what I'm saying. Like I just don't see it happening. I mean, we can play this back, and we can check when we come back for our next podcast or whatever when this movie comes out and does its thing. We can check the box office numbers
hmm
and break down the demographic, and we'll do another podcast on that for you guys. And maybe we're wrong, maybe we're not wrong, but I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't mind being wrong. I mean, because that's when you learn
Yeah,
stuff when you're wrong. But I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, just knowing what kind of movie Terminator as a concept is. I
right,
mean, how many women are going to be interested? I'm just literally just posing the question. How many
right,
women are going to be interested in going out to see a macho, futuristic time traveling explosions type movie? Is it going to be that? You know what I mean?
right,
Or is it going to be these women that find themselves in danger and then they start talking about their feelings in between,
right.
sequences?
And the thing is, like with the image that they have for the
Mhm.
or whatever, it's like two of the women look very, very rough looking. Like they're not what you consider traditional feminine looking, to say the least. They're very, very much masculine looking,
Well, what they're doing is they're
hard
trying to
looking.
make females look more androgynous when it comes to these
Mhm.
roles. I mean, you got um, like you said, how they look in Terminator,
Yeah.
and
Is
then
that a, isn't that an interesting concept though? Just like in order for in order for it to be believable that a female can take on this sort of task, as
Mhm.
being very combative, being very tough, that she would have to almost look like a man. Like,
Right.
it's just it's like that's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Like they're all hair's all chopped off, real short, like
Yeah, just hands looking rough.
yeah. It's
I
like
mean,
they just
it kind of makes you wonder too. It's like, let's say society collapsed and everything just became just post apocalyptic dystopia. You know what I mean?
mhm.
How many women would really be out there getting their hands dirty, hunting and fighting and defending from robbers and
Yeah.
you know,
I can see there might be some out there, but it's gonna be far and few in between. Like
right. I
for the
mean,
pure sake of just not dying, will they have to? But
yeah,
at
I mean, there's
around,
not too many women out there that's
yeah,
willing to just throw their life on the line without a second thought.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So we're kind of deviating from the topic, but let's circle back around to they got this new movie that's coming out. I saw the trailer for it, called What Men Want. And it's,
Oh, oh
the
man,
spinoff. Yeah, it's a spinoff
don't get me started on that. I mean,
it's the spinoff of what
movie.
women want that starred Mel Gibson. It's,
Mhm.
in this case, it stars Taraji P. Henson. She was. I have to tell you right now, she was in one of my top 10 females that I was like, like damn, she's sexy. But uh,
Mhm.
I seen the trailer and immediately I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, first of all, for a movie titled "What Men Want," it would be over within 20 minutes. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, if they were being serious about it,
yeah, you
because
really want to be serious.
yeah, it wouldn't even be a movie. It would be a
No.
YouTube video.
Yeah, hell yeah, it'd be a YouTube clip.
You know
So,
what I
and,
mean?
and so just a quick comparison for you men out there. Um, if you haven't seen these movies, for example, if you have seen What Women Want, basically to sum it up, he basically gets electrocuted by trying on women's products. And when he does that, he comes upon like this heightened sense of ability to be able to read women's minds. What he does is he takes that knowledge and that power that he just gained to basically get on the inside and cater to the women. He's catering to them.
Yeah,
Uh,
what he's doing.
yeah, he's better satisfying the women in the whole movie. That's what he does, and he falls in love with one of the women that he's basically trying to.
Which actually was his boss. And it's interesting because I remember seeing that movie, and he used his new gift to get in her head and
Hmm.
start reading all her thoughts to the point to where he actually made it to home base with her,
Hmm.
and she ends up having the most unimaginably amazing sex of her life, and she can't understand how this man did all this stuff.
Right. And I think the original I think the original premise behind him getting at his boss was because she was coming in and basically taking over the position that he wanted,
Right.
and he was trying to basically be, brown nosing by knowing what she, by knowing what her inner
He, he
thoughts
wanted
are.
to undercut her.
Yeah, he was trying to uncut her, but
He
he
stole
ends up falling in love with her.
he
You
stole all her ideas to get
Yeah.
the position, but then he ended up catching a conscience, started feeling guilty about it.
Hmm.
And then along the way, like you said, he falls in love. They live happily after, and now the quote unquote misogynist is no longer a misogynist.
Right.
Now,
So
flip to this movie.
so we fast forward a few years, and now we have Taraji P. Henson basically doing the remake of the
Mhm.
movie. And just off bat, she goes to a voodoo person, well, from what it looks like, voodoo, whatever
played,
spiritual.
played by Erica Badu.
Yeah, played by Erica Badu, some kind of shaman, and the shaman gives her the power to understand what men want.
Hmm.
And from the get go, she's using this found power, or wanted to use this found power, to undermine all the men. Like she wants to get ahead of them and put them in a position where, what I'm saying, she can get a leg up on them. And like just some things, like she's abusing the men in just this small clip. Like she's
Hmm.
playing pool at one point, and I guess she's on a date, from what we can tell. She's on a date, and the man happens to see another woman walk by, and in his mind, he's thinking, "Wow, that is a nice looking woman." Like most men will do. Like damn, oh, sexy, blah
And
blah.
then she assaults him with the pool stick, and that
Yes,
made it seem like a mistake.
right,
But really,
exactly.
it was intentional because she heard his thoughts. She didn't like it, so she thought to assault him.
Yeah, so it's
And
just
it's
like,
like when you think about the other movie,
hmm,
he didn't have any ill intent to harm anyone.
no, not
You
at
know
all,
what I mean?
not at
And
all.
he wasn't trying to be malicious. He was working towards his own gain at first. But the fact that he actually had some level of honor is what dissuaded him from continuing on with his plan.
Yeah, and the thing
Was to
is
get a
that
position.
right, and the thing is, his power turned him basically into a white knight.
Yep.
That's what happened. It turned him into a white knight. And from what we've seen of this clip, just from what we've seen, uh, she's already assaulting a man just for his thoughts. He didn't do anything. All he did was look, say, "Damn, that's nice." He did not like leave her for this woman. He didn't.
Right.
All he did was think about it. and she hits him in the nuts with a freaking
Right.
stick. It's
I
like,
I don't see this movie as the type of movie where a woman will like see things from a man's perspective and then
no,
all of a sudden fall for that man like, oh, I get it now. You have it so much harder than me. I don't see that happening. I
no,
see
don't. Yeah,
twice as malicious as she normally would be just
yeah.
you know, being female.
Yeah, that is true. Like you would think, like she doesn't have, like, in the first beginning, before they when they show the clip, they show her prior to having the power.
Oh
She,
yeah.
she's not
She was
malicious at all.
emasculating. Yeah, she was very emasculating before she got the power. So now it's like it's on and popping.
Right. So it's so that you can kind of see where this movie is going. And who knows, maybe they'll flip the script on this movie,
There might surprise us. We'll see. But based
we'll
on the
see.
trailer, it looks like something that a lot of women are gonna enjoy watching because
Mhm.
um, whether most people believe it or not, women they get a rise out of seeing um adverse things happen to men.
Yeah, they do, especially at the hands of a woman,
Hmm.
especially at the hands of another woman. It's that hive mentality of "you get them, girl," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That just, but anyhow, but so we digress. Gentlemen, if you out there, take notice of these things. Vote with your wallets. Let them know that this shit is just not acceptable. Be creative, like be original. Give us a female lead, or
Yeah,
give us.
in all honesty, I would love to see a story that
Mhm.
was created by a woman that was just had all kinds of substance. Usually when most people go to the movies, it's for some sort of level of escapism,
Mhm.
to take you to a place that isn't necessarily like real life.
Right.
It has a compelling story that really draws you in and is good, whether it be action or whatever the genre. Usually, when do we ever get content like that from women?
It's
I mean, just that's a real question. I'm just asking for real. If anybody's out there, comment. If you can name something in the comment section where women generated something unique that was substance, where it's like when it was over, it's like wow. You
right.
know what I mean?
And I would definitely check it out. Like, if hey, educate me, I'll check it out. So drop it in the comments, man. If you
Yeah. I mean,
have a differences of opinion, go ahead, put it down. We don't.
oh, one more thing. It's like when I actually heard, I think it was over the weekend. I heard somebody talking about how Lauren Hill, one of the greatest R&B hip hop artists that's ever done it.
Mm-hmm.
Word is that everything she did, she stole from somebody else. I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
She was like my last great hope, you know.
Right. Right. It's a crusher.
Yeah, it's like I mean,
Not
I
these
don't know
things.
if there's anything to really back that up, but the source that it came from had no qualms about really putting it out there in the open. So I mean, the fact that there hasn't been any backlash means that it must be true.
Right.
Because that's quite a legacy to not try to even defend. You know what I mean?
Right. You when you come at somebody who's quote unquote has a legacy, they're gonna come back full force. Like,
Right.
if there's some kind of merit to that, they might scurry off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
eh, so far it's proven to be a little bit of have some clout and merit to what was being said. So we shall see as that as that develops further.
Right.
But yeah, but like I said, gentlemen, I want to thank you again for listening. Hit that like, subscribe, bang the bell, leave a comment if you found anything that you happen to disagree with. Hey, let us know. We'll definitely check into it. And so this is another glorious podcast with my boy, co-hosted Mr. Lando.
Yeah, Lando out. Have a good one.
Maximilian. We're out. Take it easy, guys.